So some people say feelings don't have their place in trading. Trust me here, they kind of do. And there's this best feeling, which happens sometimes, happens to me today. And I want to show you guys what that is basically and what it's about. It's pretty simple. The best feeling for a Forex trader is to have a risk-free trade. A trade where you have no risk. And like a typical trade with no risk, it doesn't exist. Okay, it doesn't happen. It's impossible. But you can do things such that your trades over time they become kind of risk-free. And this is what happened today. So I had this trade open. I think it's best if we go on the chart. So that's what I'm going to do. I opened this trade earlier today. And I just need to make sure that you guys see this properly. So give me a second so I can watch. And if you guys are joining me live right now, let me know in the chat box. I do want to know. I'm just trying to see if my screen is going to be fine or not. That's awesome. That's great. Cool. So today I had this trade open, and just to give you guys some background, I went back to trading the 1 hour chart. I talked about that in I think 2 videos ago. I'll maybe put the link below after this video is done. But I went back to trading the 1 hour chart because I didn't find enough setup on the 4 hour chart. This is something I've done multiple times in the past, right? Implementing more time frames when I see that the bigger time frame did not produce enough opportunities, right? And this is funny. Like last December, there was so many trades on the 4 hour chart. Like I didn't trade the low time frame, but now like I don't see many setup on the 4 hour chart. So I often have to go lower to find more trades, to find real setup that I want to trade. And it's kind of problematic if you do not if you want to trade but do not find enough setup. So I'm not going to monitor that much the chat, but let me see. Okay, we only have Ray, but if you guys are joining me live, I see we have 6 people now. So those 6 people, you should comment and let me know where you're from. I want to know. And let's get to the chart. So I went back on trading a 60-minute chart. Now the thing is, I don't modify anything. Like it's the same setup I take, the same trades, the same zones. Okay, so nothing changed. The only thing that's gonna change when I trade another time frame, and it might be like the 15-minute chart. It doesn't matter. It might be the 5-minute chart. Although I never trade those. But the point is that you keep the same methodology, and you look for just more setup. But it has to be at the same. And this is really important. So highlight this at the same zone. Okay, that's really important. So let me show you guys quickly this setup right here. So we are on a daily chart, and if we go on a weekly chart, it's gonna be even more clear. The first thing I did when I look at that setup or that chart is I identified the support resistance areas. Okay, so we've had this. Well, it's pretty clear here. I think we had this support here at 1.22. Okay, this is what you guys see right there in a circle, big circle. Well, that's a mess, but this is the area. Okay, this line right there, and we had this other area which I found. I tend to have only 2 in my chart because it's the 2 most reliable. Okay, I try not to put too many lines on the chart because it's useless, but those are the one I had. And I looked at this level right here. The other one was I think that's 1.30. Yeah, probably 1.30 or 1.30. And I saw this. Well, even last week, price was coming back to this area 1.30. So earlier today, what I did is I picked my notebook. Okay, notebook I have right here, and I don't know if you guys can see, but it's let me see where this one is. It's this one right here. Okay, I've identified GBP CHF. What did I wrote? I wrote at zone resistance, and I said I marked a small S, which means S there's a setup on that chart. I was looking like at 8:30 in the morning, and I saw the setup on the chart. So that means that the only thing I had to do was to look for the setup, and I saw the setup forming at 8:30 this morning. So I looked at my chart, and the thing is, whenever I look at those zones, then I'm gonna look at all the time frames: the 1 hour chart, the 4 hour chart, and the daily chart, to see if there's any setup at those zones. So at 8:30 this morning, I looked at the chart, identified the setup, and the setup is right there. And I've showed you guys like multiple times the same setup. So if you need explanation and details, let me know in the comment or in the chat box, and I'll do my best to help with that. But basically, it's this setup right here. So engulfing candle, basically 2 candlesticks breaking outside the Bollinger Band, engulfing candle. You hear a bearish engulfing candle, and as you can see, this is where I want to kind of simplify a little bit and explain you guys because this doesn't happen at the zone necessarily. Like you see this is the uptrend all the way back to the zone, and then we consolidate it a little bit. Okay, some people will say, well, okay, this is a consolidation, yeah, okay, and then we break out. So we break out of the resistance area, so it's an uptrend. Well, not exactly. Okay, because the breakouts can fail, and if we go back like within the range we were before, it's a sign, clear sign for me that the breakout failed. Okay, now we are back at this level, and I see like as if we were here. I look at the same setup right there. A lot of people, what they're gonna do is they're gonna look at the chart. They're gonna say, okay, well, breakout, stop following it, like forget the chart, and then they're gonna go away. But I tend to follow up and see like what happens with that breakout. Does it fail? Does it continue? And if we go back, I just put some lights. And if we go back within the area, it's a sign that the breakout failed. So I'm gonna look for my same setup to expect that we're gonna have a move to the downtrend, to the downside. Okay, because this is a resistance area, so we will look to short that thing right here. And basically, this is the setup I had. So I entered below the low. Okay, like I explained multiple times on channel, stop loss above the high. I think the stop loss might be a little bit above because I saw 1.31. Well, stop loss you could put it like pretty much anywhere, and this is where the magic happens. Second take profit is at 3-1. Okay, I've done some backtesting recently. I used to look at 2-1s for a setup, and now I'm looking at 3-1 because I know they're more when they go to 2-1, they tend to go all the way to 3-1, which is why I'm putting at 3-1, which is there. And the other thing, because I know those setup might not be very reliable, okay, especially in the 1 hour chart. Pretty much any time frame you trade. If you trade the 1 hour chart or the 4 hour chart, they might not be very reliable. Hence why I like to take some profit, some partial profit along the way. And what I do is I put a first take profit at 1-1, which is roughly here. And let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Less than 4 hours after the entry, first take profit was hit, which is the best feeling ever, right? This is the best feeling for a trader. I'm just gonna come back to the title of the video. That's the best feeling because now the trade is what we call risk free. Okay, I'm not gonna move the stop loss because sometimes like price is gonna go back to the entry, hit your stop at break even, and then come back down. So right now I'm not moving the stop loss, but I leave it like as is with the first half of the trade exited. And now I'm just gonna wait to see if we go back all the way here. And worst case, it's gonna be back up, and it's gonna be, if we have the loss, it's gonna be like a break even trade. Okay, because I already took profit, half of it. So let me see the question now. We have breakout fail since when? Okay, on TV game. Yeah, well, it's not a breakout fail, but yeah. Yeah, I think NTV game. Are you on that trade also? That could be interesting because NTV game, one of my students. I'm curious. Maybe you're on that trade too. I don't know. But we are trading basically the same thing, which is the same setup. I know you're trading on Euro USD, so I'm curious to know if you are trading this on GBP CHF. That would be interesting. But basically, if you were to look at Euro USD right now is at 1.20, and it's been going back down today. And the past couple of days it's probably like 1.18 right now or something. So yeah, well, but I didn't find any setup on Euro USD. I found a setup on this pair right here. Okay, so on GBP CHF. But the same thing applies. And the biggest difference here is that if you look at only this setup, this is not going to be reliable. Like this is going to be not very good. On some pairs, it's going to be really well, but on some other pairs, like some obscure pairs, it's going to be bad. So that's why you want to kind of combine these two zones. And when you have this setup plus the zone, it makes it a much more reliable setup, much more reliable trade. Okay, and that's always like what I look for, first of all. And like, of course, you could say, like, cause yeah, like I understand NTV game was saying this is not a failed breakout, but it's kind of not a failed breakout anyway. Cause look at these highs. Okay, these highs are all the way here, which is 1.32, and we didn't go all the way to 1.32. Okay, so technically we didn't even break out. It's not a valid breakout because this range goes way above where we are right now. So like it's kind of a failed breakout from my line for the consolidation we had. Let me go back for the consolidation we had a little bit here. Okay, so this is kind of a failed breakout. You could trade breakout, take profit here. Like I don't trade breakout anyway, but you could do that if you want. But then we came back down, so you have to reevaluate. Like if you're if you're buying this breakout, okay, like this breakout right here, and you are still in the trade at this point, which is like here, there's something wrong. Okay, there's something not really productive in your method. So you might want to reevaluate, because once we come back within the range, chances are, and this is not always, but chances are that the breakout's not gonna follow through. We're either gonna stay here for a while, consolidate, or go back down. Okay, we could break above. It's possible, but the chances are and the odds are that we're not gonna break and push higher. Okay, unless there's like a news or something. Okay, that's always a fact. Okay, so NTV game not on that pair at the moment. Okay, totally fine. How do you put in your zones? What are your rules? Breakout should be there you go. A breakout should be strong. Exactly. Okay, so how do you put those zones? Good question. Very good question. Let me just see that camera's working fine. That's awesome. We are in business. All right. How do you put the zones? Well, this is going to require some practice, but the zones for me are kind of discretionary. Okay, in the sense that there's no, I don't know how, like there's no rule for it. Okay, except that it has to be clear for you. So if it's not clear for you, if you cannot draw clear zones for your mind, then something is wrong and you might not want to trade. So let me show you examples of clear zones and no clear zones. Okay, example of no clear zones is this pair right here. Is that the one? Yeah, I think so. Perhaps that was another. No, it's just pretty clear. I'm thinking about CAD JPY. Exactly. Okay, no clear zone. So I'm not sure if you guys see a zone right here, but what I see is that we've had this, and let me remove the Bollinger Band. We've had this kind of downtrend. Okay, I still have these kind of indicators of highs and lows. It's pretty useful. You can use it in TradingView. But basically we've had this, breakdown. We've had this range to the downside. And then we kind of have these highs. But now we broke out of the kind of the range. But we didn't really have a real range because we still had these lows. So this is what I call like a messy range. Okay, I'm not going to trade this because I do not see price being between two limits and going back down, back down, back down. Okay, so I don't see any of this. Okay, so on that pair, I'm not going to trade because I see like everything is moving on the sides. Like it's messy. We're making higher highs and kind of higher lows. And like I'm not sure. Unless you want to trade trends. But even trends here, they're not like they're messy. Because we make these highs and we go back, like we make this high the same high. Then we go above, then we're not sure what to do. It's like, whoa, what happens? Okay. So this is not clear. This is not the range. I only trade range. And the worst, like triangles, okay? Like I don't know how to draw a triangle, but something like I don't know. Never draw triangles, but forget this. Triangles like this, okay? Or whatever. I'm not trading because I have no edge in those triangles, okay? I have no clue how to trade those. But the range, when they're clear like this, then I want to trade those range. Okay, perfect example. Once again, is like the one we had before, or Euro USD. Euro USD. Euro USD has been, and this is like a big, depending on how you look at it. Well, like this range right here, this is a perfect range. See how we came back to the exact same level multiple times? Okay, and this is the perfect example. And here the low, we have the same low. Okay, and now on the weekly chart, might be easier if we go on the daily chart. Okay, but the principle is that you see like prices going back and forth between two major levels. Yeah, like we have some inside levels, and I understand I have more than two lines on the chart. But the principle is that the major levels like this one, 1.14 and 1.05. Most of the time when you have a clear range, it's going to be like, this is strange, but most of the time it's going to be between two round numbers. Okay, so 1.05 and 1.14. Of course, it's not like exactly, but it can go a little bit above, a little bit below. But this is where you look at your setup, okay, those areas. And even though we break a little bit above here, it's not a breakout. It's just we're still at the zone. Okay, you still look for price action. And this is why kind of trading breakouts and reversal is kind of tough, because you do not know like what you should do at this point. Do you have a breakout? Do you have a reversal? Or do you wait to see if you have a reversal? Or like, so it's kind of a mess. But like if you were to trade engulfing candles, and I'm not sure I'm going to put the Bollinger Band right now to see what happens. This could have been like a good setup, except you don't break outside the Bollinger Band, okay? And I'm on the daily chart. But if we go on the 1 hour chart, man, you're going to have many examples of that setup. Let's see. Okay, set up like this one here. Or set up, wow, this is more recent. And my charts are like lagging a little bit, but the reason why I put, and I'll show you guys, the reason why I put 1.20 on my chart, which is the level we're at right now, is because if you look back a little bit, like the previous major point that we were making a range of was 1.20, okay? See in the past right here, we had this low at 1.20 or so, this low at 1.20, and this is like high time frame, this is a weekly chart. But for me, it's not more about the 1.20 or the number, it's really about the area, like this surrounding. You should have some pullbacks. I don't know if it's going to be reversal, possibly. Is it going to be just a pullback? Maybe. Like we don't know, and that's not your job to know. Your job is to kind of identify a little bit the level where it could go and trade off those levels, okay? Once price, and I have no trade on USD because we didn't have any set up for me. But once price breaks above the range we had, which is here the 1.14 or 1.15 all the way to 18 area, okay, then we know that we are maybe entering a range, but we do have to be careful for that kind of next level, the next place we're going to go back, the place we're going to go to, and perhaps reverse, okay? You want to be aware of those all the time. And that's pretty much what I've been doing here. Let me see the chat box. Let's see. Okay. Have to keep up with those comments. I see we have 8 people watching, not 8 people commented in the chat box. So let me know if you're watching this. I would appreciate. Also give a like, right? If you watch this video, please give a like. That really helps me. And I appreciate all those likes, like every single one of them. Let's see. I've been thinking of limiting entries to when the Bollinger Band are close together, since the indication that there might be a big move coming. Yes. Well, basically, one thing I've been looking for recently are like, whenever we're gonna see a tight range in the Bollinger Band, I'm not gonna trade, okay, because those are usually kind of a sign of breakout, and it could either break out above, like, so if you're gonna sell, could either break, like, go above and break out, or it could go down and break down, okay? So you really have no control. When it's sideways, for me, there's no edge. I do want to have some like a little bit of area between the Bollinger Band, like this trade we've taken. Let's get on 1 hour chart. Like this trade we've taken, we do have some room to go, okay? But if you were to take like a setup here when the lower band is like here, okay, and then you have the candlestick like this, okay? It's just not a good indication, because what might happen is that you don't have enough volume. So that's a clear sign. Okay, the Bollinger Band, we say it's a volatility indicator sometimes, and that's measured by the kind of the distance between the two bands, the higher and the lower band. So here, like this area right here, high volatility. We have a big space, but I'm not sure if we're gonna find examples. Yeah, here, like low volatility. Okay, we have no space. And that's what's kind of important, because the setup happening like here is not necessarily the same as the setup happening at a zone or when you have more volatility. Okay, so I try to avoid the ones where it's too tight, because there's no room for profit, basically. Let's see. Yeah, Decofall, yeah, replay available all the time with those videos. Okay, those are the one that's on the channel. And the reason why I'm going live is that I have well, basically I didn't record any video yesterday, and so I'm going live to make sure that I do a video every single day. What else? Had an amazing trade, yeah. NTV game, share me is a trade setup on EURUSD. I think 2.5 to 1, which is great. It's gonna like recover all the past losses, which is exactly what it's about, right? You cannot know how many losing trades you're gonna have in a row. nor do you know like how long it's gonna take for you to have a big winning trade. But when you have one, it's good, right? It's perfect. So awesome, yeah. Yeah, most probably, yeah. There's gonna be replay. You put stop limit order to enter a new position. I don't know. I'll just put what's in trading view, but yeah, it's gonna depend on how. Yeah, I don't really look at orders. Like I don't know these terms necessarily. I just use what's in the platform, and it goes pretty easily. But yeah, it's most of the time I use a stop like a limit order. So I don't unless I'm in front of the chart and like basically what happened today. So no, not even today. But when I see that like I basically I always want to turn my trades when we go beyond the candlestick, so beyond the high, beyond the low. So if I'm in front of the chart and it happens that we just go beyond the candlestick, like I'll do just a market order. But if I do not see that we're above or below, I'll just put the limit order, and that's simple. Okay, so I'll put the price above, price below, and I just wait. Okay, I'm not gonna be there like watching the chart. When is it gonna break out or like go above? No, like it doesn't matter. So I put the limit order, and that makes it much easier. Yeah. Do you scale in as well? No, I don't scale in. I don't. I just don't wanna like. I don't know. I technically could do it, but didn't. I never did it really. But I know some people doing it. It's fine. I just don't want to waste time entering many positions, trying to scale in, and it depends. Yeah. NTV game. Also have one question since it wasn't covered in the reverse interview, so episode 110 of the podcast, where I was interviewed. When did you know you were ready to start living off your trading? Okay, so I'll answer this one. I see there's another question, but basically when I saw that I was trading for other people, like the moment I started trading for other people, I want to see how this would go and how I would be able to, like what I would be able to make some gains from other people. And as soon as I saw that I would have some like couple of months, I said, well, okay, it's good. Like I know I'm kind of ready to go full time. Although this wasn't like full time at the time, really, I didn't go full time at first. And also, I knew that I had other things on the side, right? So that's really important. I didn't go like full time thinking, well, okay, this is my only like income forever. I'm gonna like make 100% trading, like for sure, no, okay. And we often talk about having multiple streams of income. And let me just go back because I see we have some chart. It's gonna be messy. But we often talk about having multiple streams of income, and that's where it has kind of different things in place. Okay, when I went full time, I had the podcast already. I was not making any money from it, but I knew in the future I would be able to maybe monetize a little bit. Okay, and today having some like sponsors and different things like that, I'm able to kind of make money off of that a little bit, and that supports my trading. But at the beginning, of course, I didn't go like full time from the start, and that's important. So I went progressively. But the moment where I saw that I was trading for other people and that I had some new opportunities to trade for other people, that's when I was like more willing to go full time, and that's when I went full time. Okay, basically. Some brokers have it set up so you can't put the limit order when it's yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, some brokers have it when like you cannot put a limit order when it's too close to the price. That yeah, I've seen that sometimes, but at least sometimes, I don't know. I've never seen that. The only place I've seen that was in a Forex tester, where it's kind of messy, but you cannot like place a fake trade when it's kind of, I think, too close to the candlestick or something, too close to the high. So it makes it messy. But on my broker, I've never seen any problem with placing the order that way. But yeah, maybe it happens with some brokers. Or otherwise, you just put a market order if it makes sense. And like worst case you can do is you can put a market order, and if it really doesn't go above, you just cancel it. Okay, that's called scratching trades. The trades that don't produce any result, you can scratch them. If you know that they're not gonna be profitable over time, like in the long run, why not like why would you want to keep them? Why not scratch them and forget all these things that like all these trades that don't make any result. Okay. Yeah, so I ease into it exactly. Broker isn't something eventually. Yeah. Okay. NTV game. I'm just curious, what broker are you with? Out of curiosity. I know you're in Europe, so maybe FXCM. I'm not sure. Okay. How do you declare your trading profits? Income or capital gain? Those are it's kind of different. Default. I'm not sure if you're in Canada, but those are kind of more well. It depends because the trading profit I get from other people, they're gonna be income, but the ones that are from my own, they're gonna be capital gain. Okay, so that's kind of a different like twist. But it's like for me, it's easier to put it that way because I don't see the same like it's not the same thing if you were to get paid by someone else and if you are to gain the money yourself. Okay, so there's like two categories for that one. Yeah, well, of course it depends on the province you're in. I know like Canada's like general, so you do kind of an income statement for just Canada, but it's a little different in Quebec and Canada, so that's why. Cool. So these slides are funny. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions, I'll finish it here because it's already like 30 minutes, and I always get in the computer to do those videos of like 10-minute, like 15-minute max, and it always ends up being 30 minutes, which is okay. I appreciate if you guys enjoy those videos. Please give a like, and if you have any questions, comment below after the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow or the day after for another video. Ciao, guys.